Imagine standing in a quiet English village more than 370 years ago. There are no busy highways, no electric lights, and no modern cities. The only sounds are church bells, horses pulling wagons, and the voices of ordinary people struggling to survive in a world controlled by kings and religious authorities. During this turbulent period, a small religious movement emerged that would forever change history. They were mocked by their enemies, imprisoned by governments, and even executed because of their beliefs. Yet, despite relentless persecution, they refused to fight with weapons. Instead, they believed peace was stronger than violence. These people became known as the Quakers, officially called the Religious Society of Friends. Today, millions of Americans unknowingly carry surnames that appear in early Quaker records. Many of these families helped establish Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, Rhode Island, and other American colonies. But where did these surnames come from? Why do certain family names appear repeatedly in old Quaker records? And could your own surname have once belonged to a family of peaceful pioneers? This is their remarkable story. England in the 1600s. To understand Quaker surnames, we first have to understand England during the 17th century. Life was extremely difficult. Most people were poor farmers, disease spread quickly, life expectancy was short, religion controlled almost every aspect of daily life. The Church of England was the official church, and attendance was not optional. Anyone who challenged church authority could face fines, imprisonment, or worse. The English Civil War further divided the nation. Families fought against one another. Cities burned, thousands died, many people began searching for a different path, a faith based not on political power, but on personal conviction. One of those seekers was a young man named George Fox. George Fox's vision. George Fox was born in 1624 in Leicestershire, England. Unlike many religious leaders of his time, he never attended a university. He spent years traveling across England, searching for spiritual truth. He visited priests, scholars, and ministers. None satisfied him. Eventually, Fox concluded that every person could experience God directly. No priest was required. No bishop stood between humanity and God. Every individual possessed what Fox called the inner light. This revolutionary belief threatened the religious authorities. If everyone could approach God directly, church hierarchy would lose its power. Fox began preaching throughout England. Crowds gathered to hear him. Some welcomed him. Others condemned him. Authorities arrested him numerous times. Yet his movement continued to grow. Why were they called Quakers? The name Quaker was never intended as a compliment. During one trial, George Fox reportedly urged a judge to tremble at the word of the Lord. The judge mocked Fox and his followers by calling them Quakers, suggesting they trembled with religious emotion. The nickname spread quickly. Ironically, the movement eventually embraced it. Officially, however, they called themselves Friends, or the Religious Society of Friends. This explains why many old documents refer to Friends meeting records instead of Quaker records. What made the Quakers different? Several beliefs made Quakers unique. First was absolute equality. Rich or poor, man or woman, noble or servant, every soul held equal value. Women often spoke during meetings. At a time when women possessed very few rights, this was extraordinary. Second was honesty. Quakers refused to swear oaths. Instead, they insisted their everyday words should always be truthful. This tradition influenced modern legal affirmations used in many courts today. Third was simplicity. Fancy clothing was discouraged. Luxury was avoided. Many Quakers wore plain garments to demonstrate humility. Fourth was peace. Perhaps their most famous principle, Quakers refused military service. They opposed violence even when it endangered their own lives. This commitment earned them both admiration and criticism. The price of belief peace did not protect them. Thousands of Quakers were arrested. Meetings were broken up by authorities. Homes were searched. Books were confiscated, many were imprisoned for months or years, some died in prison. Others had property seized, yet they continued gathering in silence. Instead of elaborate church ceremonies, Quaker worship often consisted of people sitting quietly together. Anyone who felt inspired could stand and speak. Sometimes no one spoke at all. The silence itself became a form of worship. The rise of Quaker communities as persecution increased. Quakers began forming close-knit communities. Marriage usually occurred within the faith. Families supported one another. Business partnerships often formed between Quaker households. This had an important consequence for genealogists today. Certain surnames appear repeatedly in Quaker meeting records because these families remained connected for generations. Their names became woven into the history of the movement itself. How Quaker surnames were recorded. Unlike many religious groups of the 17th century, Quakers kept remarkably detailed records. Births, marriages, deaths, certificates of removal, meeting minutes, membership lists, disciplinary actions, travel permissions. These records became some of the most valuable genealogical documents in colonial America. When modern family historians trace Quaker ancestry, they often rely upon these meeting records. Many families can follow their lineage back more than 3 centuries because Quaker communities carefully documented nearly every important life event. Why surnames matter. A surname is more than a family label. It is a historical footprint. Many English surnames originally described a person's occupation, others reflected geography. Some identified a parent, others referred to personal characteristics. Over generations, these names became permanent family identities. When Quaker families migrated to America, they carried these surnames across the Atlantic. Those names became part of early American history. Migration to the New World. By the late 1600s, England remained dangerous for Quakers. Many dreamed of religious freedom. That opportunity arrived through William Penn. Penn himself had become a Quaker after hearing Quaker preaching. His conversion angered his wealthy family. He too experienced imprisonment because of his beliefs, but Penn possessed something many Quakers lacked: political influence. King Charles II owed Penn's father a large debt. Instead of paying cash, the king granted William Penn an enormous tract of land in North America. That colony became Pennsylvania. Its name literally means Penn's Woods. Penn envisioned something extraordinary: a colony built on religious tolerance, no official state church, freedom of worship, peaceful relations with Native Americans whenever possible. The promise attracted thousands. Crossing the Atlantic, the voyage to America was dangerous. Ships often required 8 to 12 weeks to cross the Atlantic. Passengers faced storms, disease, food shortages, crowded conditions. Many never reached their destination. Those who survived arrived with little more than hope, yet they believed they were building a better future. Entire Quaker families settled together. Villages grew. Meeting houses were constructed. Records continued. Children were born. Generations followed. Their surnames became permanent parts of American history. Friends meeting records. Every Quaker community organized local meetings. These meetings kept detailed books, marriage approvals, birth certificates, deaths, transfers between meetings. Family relationships. Unlike many government records lost through war or fire, numerous Quaker meeting books survived. Today, these documents remain among the richest sources available for genealogy. Researchers from around the world study them to trace family lines. Sometimes a single meeting book contains hundreds of interconnected surnames spanning multiple generations. The legacy begins by the early 18th century. Quakers had established thriving communities throughout Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, Rhode Island, and parts of North Carolina. Their farms prospered, their businesses expanded, their schools educated future generations. Many became respected merchants, craftsmen, and civic leaders. Although they remained a minority, their influence far exceeded their numbers. Their commitment to honesty made Quaker merchants trusted trading partners. Their opposition to slavery eventually placed many at the forefront of abolition. Their dedication to education produced influential schools and institutions that continue to exist today. Most importantly, their carefully preserved records left an extraordinary historical treasure. Within those pages appear hundreds of familiar surnames, names still carried by families around the world. Some of those surnames belonged to humble farmers, others belonged to influential colonial leaders. Some vanished over time. Others became common across America. Today, we're turning those records into real family stories. These are 15 surnames that appear repeatedly in early Quaker communities. While not every person with these surnames was a Quaker, each became closely associated with the religious society of Friends through generations of faithful families, merchants, farmers, ministers, and pioneers. Let's begin. 1. Brown. The surname Brown is one of England's oldest descriptive surnames. It originally referred to someone with brown hair, brown eyes, or a dark complexion. Because it was so common, Brown appears throughout early Quaker meeting books. Across England and colonial America, Brown families settled heavily in Pennsylvania and New Jersey during the late 17th century. Many became respected farmers, mill owners, and merchants. Their names frequently appear in marriage certificates, land transactions, and friends meeting records. Today, Brown remains one of the most common surnames in the English-speaking world. 2. Pemberton. Unlike Brown, Pemberton is a locational surname. It comes from a village in Lancashire, England. The name means the settlement near the hill. One of the most famous Quaker families carried this surname. The Pembertons became influential merchants in Philadelphia and were deeply involved in education, charity, and public service. Several generations remained active Quakers for more than 2 centuries. Researchers studying Pennsylvania genealogy often encounter the Pemberton family repeatedly in colonial records. 3. Sharpless. The surname Sharpless traces its roots to Cheshire, England. Although never extremely common, it became closely linked with Quaker migration. Many Sharpless families arrived in Pennsylvania during the late 1600s. They established farms, mills, and prosperous communities. Their descendants preserved family records with remarkable care, making the Sharpless lineage one of the best documented Quaker families in America. Today, historians frequently use Sharpless family documents to understand colonial Quaker life. 4. Lloyd. The surname Lloyd has Welsh origins. It derives from the Welsh word Lloyd, meaning gray. Many Welsh Quakers settled in Pennsylvania after William Penn encouraged immigration from Wales. These settlers established what became known as the Welsh Tract. Lloyd families contributed to farming, commerce, and local government. Their descendants spread across America during the 18th and 19th centuries. 5. Cadbury. Few Quaker surnames are as internationally recognized as Cadbury. Originally an English locational surname, it later became famous through the Cadbury family of Birmingham. The Cadburys were devoted Quakers who believed business should reflect moral values. They treated employees better than many factories of their time. They built schools, housing, and recreational facilities for workers. Their success demonstrated how Quaker ethics could influence business. Today, the Cadbury name remains synonymous with integrity and enterprise. 6. Barclay. The surname Barclay comes from Scotland. One of the movement's greatest thinkers, Robert Barclay, became one of Quakerism's most influential writers. His work helped explain Quaker beliefs to the wider world. Because of his writings, Barclay became one of the best-known Quakers in history. Although not every Barclay family belonged to the Society of Friends, the surname became permanently associated with Quaker theology. 7. Woolman, the surname Woolman, may have originated from occupations involving wool production. Its most famous bearer was John Woolman, born in New Jersey in 1720. Woolman became one of America's earliest and most powerful voices against slavery. He traveled thousands of miles on horseback, encouraging fellow Quakers to reject slave ownership. His quiet determination influenced the entire Quaker community. Many historians consider him one of the earliest American abolitionists. 8. Evans is a Welsh patronymic surname meaning son of Evan. Because many Welsh families embraced Quakerism, Evans appears frequently in colonial meeting records. Large numbers settled in Pennsylvania. Others later moved south into North Carolina and west into Ohio. Their descendants helped establish new Quaker meetings as America expanded. 9. Cooper, originally an occupational surname, Cooper referred to craftsmen who made wooden barrels. Before modern manufacturing, barrels were essential for storing food, grain, flour, and liquids. Every town needed skilled coopers. Many Quaker Cooper families became respected tradesmen. Their businesses often flourished because Quaker honesty earned public trust. Meeting records frequently mention Cooper families participating in community affairs. 10. Green, the surname Green, usually described someone living near a village, green, or grassy field. Green families appear throughout English Quaker records. Many later settled throughout Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Although the surname itself is extremely common, Quaker records often distinguish individuals through detailed family relationships, making genealogical research possible despite the common name. 11. Whitehead, the surname Whitehead, originated as a descriptive nickname for someone with very light-colored or gray hair. Whitehead families became active members of Friends meetings in England before migrating to America. Their descendants participated in farming, education, and community leadership. Today, Whitehead remains a recognizable surname among Quaker genealogies. 12. Haines, the surname Haines, appears frequently in early New Jersey Quaker communities. Many Haines families arrived before 1700. They became landowners, surveyors, and local officials. Because Quakers carefully documented marriages, historians can often trace Haines' family lines across multiple generations with unusual accuracy. 13. Roberts derived from the personal name Robert. Roberts means son of Robert. Like Evans, it became especially common among Welsh Quakers. Many Roberts families settled in Pennsylvania's Welsh communities. They later expanded into Ohio, Indiana, and other frontier states. Their migration reflects the broader westward movement of Quaker families during the 18th and 19th centuries. 14. Jones, another Welsh patronymic surname. Jones means son of John. Today is one of the world's most common surnames. Early Quaker meeting books include many Jones families because the name was widespread. Clerks carefully recorded parents, spouses, occupations, and meeting locations to avoid confusion. These detailed records continue to help genealogists distinguish between families sharing identical surnames. 15. Dickinson, our final surname is Dickinson, derived from son of Dick, a medieval nickname for Richard. The surname became established throughout northern England. Several Dickinson families joined the Quaker movement during its earliest years. Many later emigrated to Pennsylvania. Some became teachers. Others entered public service. Their descendants contributed to education, agriculture, and local government for generations. Why these surnames appeared so often, one question naturally arises. Why do the same surnames appear repeatedly in Quaker records? The answer lies in the structure of Quaker society. Friends often married within their religious community. Families remained closely connected through monthly meetings and yearly meetings. Children inherited not only their parents' surnames but also their religious identity. When one family moved from England to Pennsylvania, relatives frequently followed. Entire communities migrated together. As a result, Meeting records became filled with interconnected families sharing familiar surnames. Over time, these names formed extensive family networks stretching across England, Wales, Ireland, and colonial America. A treasure for genealogists for modern family historians, Quaker records are invaluable. Unlike many early government documents, Friends carefully preserved. Birth records marriage, certificates death, records conneftichets of removal between meetings, membership rolls, minutes of disciplinary proceedings. Land references family relationships. Because of this meticulous record keeping, descendants can often reconstruct family trees reaching back to the late 1600s with remarkable confidence, even when census records are missing. Quaker meeting books frequently fill the gaps. More than just names, these surnames represent more than genealogy. They tell the story of ordinary people who chose conscience over comfort. They refused violence during times of war. They challenged slavery long before it became popular to do so. They promoted education for both boys and girls. They believed honesty mattered more than wealth. Many sacrificed property, freedom, and even their lives for those convictions. Their surnames became symbols of perseverance rather than privilege. And today, countless descendants carry these names without realizing the remarkable legacy hidden behind them. Welcome back. The story of Quaker surnames didn't end with the first settlers who arrived in America. Their values continued to shape generations. Long after they crossed the Atlantic, Quakers became known for their honesty in business, their commitment to education, and their belief that all people were equal. Long before it became common, many Quakers spoke out against slavery and worked for peace, justice, and religious freedom. Their careful record-keeping also left behind one of the richest collections of family history in America. Today, historians and genealogists still use Quaker meeting records to trace family trees back more than 300 years. If your ancestors came from places like Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, or North Carolina, there's a chance your family history may connect with one of these early Quaker communities. Whether your surname is Brown, Pemberton, Lloyd, Sharpless, Cooper, Evans, Woolman, or another historic name, every surname carries a story worth discovering. The legacy of the Quakers reminds us that history isn't only made by kings or generals. Sometimes it's shaped by ordinary families whose courage, honesty, and compassion leave a lasting impact for centuries. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more fascinating stories about historic surnames and family history. Until next time, remember, every surname has a story and every family has a history waiting to be